welcome everybody. I am your host here at the Credit Union Connection, Sarah Snell Cooke, of course. I'm here today with Alex Gekas. Welcome.
Hi, Sarah. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Now, Alex is from Callahan Associates, and they have a really cool program that I asked them to come on and talk about. But Alex, why don't you do a little further introduction of yourself and the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Sarah said, Alex Gekas. I've been at Callahan for about 15 years. I oversee all of our marketing, communications, events, creditunions.com, our media website, and yeah, so been doing that for a while. And Callahan, we've been around for 40 years. Isn't that crazy? Been
Right.
around for 40 years. And, under our logo, it says the credit union company. We continue to try to help credit unions think differently about how they approach strategic growth. And that's really the path that we can continue to be on. So very excited about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's weird introducing Callahan because everybody knows Callahan. But no, that's good for those who don't know. And so yeah, you all started this member impact stories project for International Credit Union Day. Can you give us a little background on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really interesting because I was sitting in a board meeting, and one of our board members shared this story, and it's the first story that's posted on creditunions.com in the member story section. And you have to go back a couple pages now because we've been getting a lot of submissions. And it was this story about this member who was in the hospital, and her son was in the hospital, and her husband was in the hospital all at the same time. And one of the member service reps sent them pizza and Coke to the office. There was this whole story around it, and I'm not doing it justice. Please go read the story. But I remember sitting in that board meeting and I cried,
Mm,
and I just felt like what an amazing story. And these types of stories, this emotional connection that credit unions create with members each and every day, it often flies under the radar. And that's not the only story that, an executive has sent us via email or texted us or told us in person. And so we have this platform on creditunions.com, and what we realize is, how do we share that impact in a larger way? And so that was really, how do we help these stories come from under the radar and really get the attention that they deserve? And right now, it's really a mix. People have been coming and asking, can we submit video? Does it have to be text? Can it just be text? And we really want it to be anything and everything that feels accessible to you,
mm.
to the credit union, because the stories, it's really about the story. It's not about what format the story it's in. It's not about how catchy the headline is or any of that. It's really about the impact. And so we're really excited about it.
Yeah, and this so my one of my I guess my 26-year long beef now with credit unions is getting their stories out. Because yes, you can affect that member and they who lives that story one-on-one basis, and you're going to get some word of mouth from that, I am certain. Um, but getting that at scale is something that we haven't really been able to do. And so, like, what are you? I don't know if that seems like it's part of the purpose of what you were doing. But what is the ultimate goal with sharing these?
Yeah, and people have been asking because we've gotten a lot of, there have been credit unions that have reached out to other executives on the team saying, "Hey, I heard about this. How can we contribute?" And that's really exciting to see. We've been asked if it's about advocacy. We've been asked kind of what you said, like what is the overall goal? And really, it's a couple things. The first being, we want to create a ripple effect.
Hmm.
If some credit union reads a story and says, "Hey, I have those stories," does it encourage them to capture them? Does it encourage them to make it part of their culture, to share them in front of staff, to encourage staff to uncover them, to use it in marketing? Like, do they have those? Does that authentic story become part of who they are? They already have them. Most every
Hmm.
credit union has these stories, but they might not have the mechanism to collect them
Right.
and share them. So we're kind of trying to create that inspiration. And then this might seem like a silly goal, but it's really to create this positive place where we can all go and see why we do what we do every day. It's really just kind of the feel good. There's the whole like good news channel type concept, and that's really what this is meant to be. And it really complements what's on creditunions.com already. We have those inspiring case studies about how credit unions, how we want credit unions to think differently, about during success. And this is a kind of an amplification of that on the member side.
Mm-hmm. And so do you have any favorites yet?
Oh, it's funny because I have quite a few favorites, and when we started to get them in again, some of them was we were all teasing each other, saying, this one really made me cry, or this one really touched my heart. Um, there's a lot of memorable ones. So there's one about a member service rep who gave a Twinkie to a diabetic member who was about to go into diabetic shock, and so I now have this Twinkie story kind of in
Mhm.
my mind. So that might be my favorite one, or it's the most memorable to me.
It's the sweetest one.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. No pun intended.
Oh, I'm a pun master. Uh,
Love it.
so, what is, where do, see, this is very casual, obviously. Where do credit unions go to submit their stories, or who do they get a hold of? You can give us a link, shout out to your link, and we'll
Yeah,
the show notes.
yeah, absolutely. So we actually added it to the navigation on creditunions.com to make it easy.
Nice.
So up at the top, there's a link that says member stories. If you click on a story, there's the submission is at the top. That sends you to Callahan. It's a form. It should be easy to fill out. We also have the member story project at callahan.com, which is kind of a mouthful.
Yeah.
But we have had a lot of credit unions submit them via email. And I believe it just because it's accessible. Hey, we have these 5 member stories. Can I just send them to you? Our editor in chief, Rebecca, is, handling all of those. So we're happy to take them in any form. Like I said, I want it to be accessible. And that's why it can be a video if you have those, but video production and all that, it's a lot. So we want just the verbal stories too.
Yeah, one of the things that you kind of brought up a little bit earlier is the operationalizing of collecting these stories inside a credit union is one of the biggest issues. And the thing is, like, what I've learned, you if you have like a Dropbox folder or something where your MSRs and your um loan loan officers have access, and they can just write a quick note. Now you can even do it with AI. Make a quick
Right.
note about what the story is that they just literally experienced with a member, and kind of shove it off to wherever this collection place is. There are some amazing things that we could do as a community with those types of stories as well.
Yeah, I agree. And we really wanted to get up and running quickly. So I would say, in terms of what are we going to do with all the stories, I feel like that's a question that I've gotten. And while I like to have a great plan, I also like to take action. And so creating the project and getting it up and running kind of was the action. And I'm kind of seeing where the stories, or we're kind of seeing where the stories inspire us to next. We will be sharing them on places like social media, in the creditunions.com daily newsletter. We're going to do a monthly like top 5, top 10. So there's ways that we're going to try to circulate them and kind of spread that inspiration. But I think there are bigger things we can do with them. And what
Oh,
those bigger
absolutely.
things are, I'm not sure we know yet. Open to ideas. It's all about being collaborative. So open to ideas that others might have on how we can amplify the work.
Yeah, yeah, and credit, I mean, they love they love sharing these stories, but again, it's usually like storytelling one to one. And so yeah, hopefully they'll maybe use video, like you were saying, to
Yeah.
actually tell the story verbally versus written as well. Um, and I mean, I got a million pictures of ideas running through my head as we're talking about it, 'cause this is really something that has been attempted in different places, and it maybe the outcome wasn't quite quite what it
Yeah.
was expected. And so yeah, I really wish you all the best with this
Thank
project.
you. Yeah.
That's my number one thing, is that I believe that the lack of brand awareness of credit unions is their number one threat.
Yeah.
um and everybody who has, a lot of people have these great credit union stories. I mean, my husband and I tell this often, my husband and I, we were young and dumb, got in a little jam. And, our credit was able to help us out with a home equity loan.
Wow.
And it I mean, it just saved a lot of stress, period, as an individual human being, and anxiety. I'm sure that wore on our marriage, and if it had been longer
Right.
term, that could have been a problem. Eventually we could have sold our house, or had to, sell or lose our
Right.
house. And so that's kind of stuff that cranes are like, they very often want to market their rates, and their rates are great. Whatever. I mean, most are great. Um, but really I think it's more about these types of stories, that it's so much more than saving somebody $5 a month or
Right.
$100 a month. Not that that's not important too, but you're saving homes and marriages, and so many individuals. Like, people have so many feelings. I'm getting on my soapbox. People have so many feelings about their money, even though it's, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
numbers. Um, and there's a lot of mental health tied to that. So again, I've got like a million ideas running
Oh
through
yeah.
through all these stories, but it's definitely something that I feel like Cranians can really do well to focus on. And so what was, I mean, you mentioned the one story from your one of your board members as an inspiration, but what made you take it forward and actually make it happen?
Well, we have a partnership with Gallup, and it's a member engagement and financial well-being consortium. And a lot of Gallup's research is on creating this emotional engagement,
Hmm.
and how that, turns to growth. And we've seen data over the time that shows that credit unions really have to focus on creating those emotional relationships with their members.
Hmm.
And so I think that narrative, kind of with our Gala program, the need for just some good news, right?
Yeah.
And just so much going on, some need for just some good news. Those stories that we've been hearing from executives, and then we also, I'm not sure if you read John Jeffries, our CEO's book, the Strategic Growth Framework.
Not yet.
He launched it last year. I'll send you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
It's a short read. It's a quick read. It takes me forever to read a book, but I can actually say that this is a quick read. Executives have read it on a flight cross country.
Hmm.
So, and within that, it's all about kind of this cycle that starts with a really well-defined and embedded purpose, and how that empowers employees and engage members and kind of gets that stakeholder impact and sustainable growth going. And it's really kind of like a flywheel. And we really believe that stories are kind of the grease in the wheels. So
Mm.
that storytelling is what's going to kind of amplify the work that you're doing in all the areas. And it really needs to be part of your strategy. And so we've been having these storytelling conversations. So that's kind of how all the pieces came together.
Oh, yeah, that really makes sense. So, what do you want to leave our Ukrainian audience with? What would you like to leave them with as your final thoughts?
I just I said it a couple of times, but I do think it's really important. I think part of the reason why credit unions don't tell these stories more is what I mentioned in terms of this fear that the story's not the right story, that it's not a big enough story, that the impact isn't big enough, that it's not told in the exact way it should be, or it needs to be a video, or all these things where it's not audience ready. Maybe that's a way to
Mm.
put it. And I really want credit unions to kind of let that go. Just tell it. Just
Yeah.
tell it. And we can help refine it. We're happy to create, you could put put in headline, we'll make a headline. We can do all that. It's really no pressure. It's really just about capturing the good and amazing impact that credit unions have every single day.
Hmm.
And
Awesome.
so submit a story.
Yeah,
Tell
awesome.
your
Thank
story.
you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time.